Day number 50. What better way to announce day 50 than to be inside Super Training Gym? Day 50 of Carnivore 100. We keep cranking along. We keep kicking some ass. This morning, I had some heavy cream, some coffee, and 2 scoops of Keto Pro. That's all I had for breakfast this morning. Gonna chow down later on today. Start to bring the caloric levels down by about Saturday. Today is Wednesday, so start to kind of prep for that in advance. So a little less food. That way it's just not such a huge drop for those of you that want to follow along with what I'm doing. By Friday, well, let's see, Saturday night we have like an event. So Saturday will be a lot of fasting. Friday will be a good amount of fasting too, to keep overall calories down. We have like a caviar party. Caviar, how fancy, right? And we'll have some ribeyes there and stuff, so there'll be a good amount of fat in that last meal, but I'll probably try to keep it to 1 meal a day. But basically what I'm doing is I'm going to go a whole week with low fat, low amount of fat, probably 50 grams of fat, 50 to 70 grams of fat, somewhere in there. Keep the fat grams low, keep the protein jacked through the roof, and just look to end up with a different response and get leaned out. See how it goes. Waiting for Jeremy Buendia. He's going to be here in a little bit. We're going to be lifting, podcasting, doing all kinds of fun stuff with him for today. Damn. Yeah, I was feeling crazy. Just train with one of the best, so not too different, because I end up getting an opportunity to train with some really great people from all different walks of life. But whenever you have an opportunity to train with a material expert in a specific thing, it just shows you how like inadequate and worthless you are on a lot of things. So having Colleen Foch in here and having Jason Kalipa show me some CrossFit, and having bodybuilders in here like Stan Efferding and Jake Cutler, and today Jeremy Buendia, showing you just these slightly different things that you already kind of know, but you don't know anything about the intensity level until you actually train with them. And this is a lot. This is a lot of good work. I like the pace, but admittedly, I don't always keep this pace because I'm chatting or doing something. So I like it. I like the amount of work that we got in a short period of time.
Yes, I know I have to try and slow. Yeah, that could be it. That's good.
Whoa! Stuck on there. Oh, good.
How's the all meat diet coming on?
I'm loving it. I really am. You know,
I have a lot of questions for you.
yeah. It's weird. You know, it's definitely different. It feels like it's easier for me to maintain, certain body weights, without having to be like so precise with the food and that kind of stuff. I noticed for myself, if I bring in like carbs, then it's like, well, I better be like monitoring them or have a ton of rules around them, because then I'll just start eating everything. So it's kind of easier if I stick to a meat. For some people, like if you have trouble,
how many times a day are you eating?
3 or 4. For some people that might have a harder time eating, then I don't think it's a great diet, because you're not encouraging yourself to be hungry at all. The carbohydrates, I think, can help people be a little hungrier, especially things like rice and stuff. They just don't have a lot of like fiber or weight to them. They add a little bit, but the extra flavor that you get from having some carbohydrates with a meal, like steak and rice together, is really good. It allows you to eat a little bit more. And so for people that are trying to gain size, I think they might want to have some carbohydrates in there. There we go. Nice. Yep. That was great. I think as a bodybuilder, you get so in tune with your body that you know how many meals you need for a good workout, and you know the exact foods that you need. And
especially when you're on prep, your body's so borderline on deficit all the time, or in a deficit.
Right.
You know, and you're always flat. So you got to time your meals when you get in the gym. Make sure you have the muscle glycogen to get the pump that you need.
How do you usually eat? You usually have a good amount of protein, maybe a closer, or maybe double the amount of carbs and moderate to low fat. What's it look like? What's your diet look like if you're starting in prep?
We try to keep carbs in as long as possible, until my body gets to a certain point, and then I read my body as it goes. I don't ever really deplete all the way down. Try to keep my carbs as high as possible. When we just read the scale, drop 3 pounds, refeed, drop 3 pounds, refeed. That's the way I did it before.
So a point I'd like to make, because everybody yells at me about not eating carbs, is that I definitely do get flat on this nutrition plan. But I get flat when I'm in a calorie deficit. When do you get flat?
Calorie deficit.
So it doesn't really matter. The carbohydrates are going to help him look bigger and fuller throughout. And if we were to compete in bodybuilding together, we know that I would easily mop the floor with him. It's quite obvious. We know from history, with bodybuilding, that someone that has some carbohydrates in their system is probably going to be more likely to be the winner, because they're going to have the look that bodybuilding is really looking for. But for me, my diet helps me to stay in shape that I want to stay in year round. It helps me control. Yeah. So I might be a huge advocate, and I might feel like I'm trying to change everybody to do it. All I'm really trying to do, I'm just excited about it. I'm just trying to encourage people that have had trouble, trying to encourage them to try it. That's all I'm really trying to do. But to his point, you're going to end up being flat no matter what diet you're on when you're trying to lose body fat, and you're trying to be as precise as you are. Most
of us competitors too aren't doing that as a diet we're trying to maintain.
Right.
We're doing that diet for 12, 16 weeks, and then when we're on off season, A handful of us are just doing whatever we want to do.
Right.
You're trying to find something that's going to help maintain, so we can have sustained.
Right.
There's no way that we'd be able to sustain the diet that we're on.
Right.
You know, being down sub 100 carbs for how long. You know.
How do you deal with the mental side of it? Like, you get shredded, you get in shape, and you probably feel pretty good about that. You probably feel pretty good about like photos leading into it, and then maybe
you
afterwards
get edgy,
you gain some weight back.
You're messing on your hormones, everything gets, you know, is amplified.
Right.
So you get very sensitive, very touchy, you know. And for me, like I try to just, you know, prepare myself for that and just be aware of it.
Right.
You know, could have done better in the past, and that's what we're working on this year, making it better. So.
Right. What about like, I mean, I don't think you've ever been fat, but like, what about just having like, just even getting like bloated or puffy off season? Do you ever feel like fat?
I used to, and like honestly, the past year, I feel my body's matured. Like I'm starting to get that more mature muscle, getting close to my 30s now. My off season, I could really get fluffy, and my face would blow out. I would get love handles, and
right.
Now, like, I went through a phase where I was eating whatever I want for a couple months, and I stayed lean. So I think my body's getting to a more mature state where I'm not gonna get that fat easily.
And then you get a little bit more comfortable with it from a mental perspective, because you're like, well, I'm just putting on some size. This is part of the process.
I know I know I can get in shape in 8 weeks from pretty much any point I'm at. You know, I don't care how fat I get.
So that's a gift and a curse, and wrapped into one, because you're like, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll start on Monday.
But it gives me some peace of mind in the off season to let myself go and relax a little bit, enjoy life. You know, beforehand, when I was younger, I was just around the clock all the time, and it drove me crazy.
Is there anything new? Is there anything that's changed since the time that you started in 2008? Like, is there any new tricks? Is there any new fat loss pill, or is there any different style of training to like burn fat?
Hard work hasn't been replaced yet. No, I mean, supplements have gotten better. I mean, I guess, but you know, nothing's changed. It's just hard work, consistency. Right. You know, training hard and grinding it out. You know, that nothing's changed since then. Food doesn't change. You know, I've just gotten more knowledgeable, and my experience and the evolution of the sport. I mean, my sport, we've grown 30 pounds. Different division. My first Olympia title was 157 pounds. Yeah. 186 the last time I was on stage. So just seeing how the evolution in a matter of
they might strip your title now. They heard that 157 pounds. Give me that award back.
Yeah, for real. So, you know, this is how much it's changed and how I've had to adjust my physique as the years have gone by, and it's like jumping from, you know, light 212s that had open, you know, pretty much. So I've had to adjust, and the guys have gotten bigger. And for me, I have a smaller frame than these other guys, so. You know, I think that's a blessing and a curse at the same time too. You know, I'm able to look smaller joints. I'm able to look a little bit rounder, and I don't got to be as big to look as big.
There's a lot of people, you know, kind of with old school mentality, and they think like, oh, the young guys aren't working as hard. Like, what are some things you see in bodybuilding? Is there anything missing? Are you excited about where bodybuilding's at, or
I'm just more concerned. I'm concerned with the lack of knowledge that a lot of these guys are putting things in their body and they're not knowledgeable enough about, especially with like how the qualification system is for Olympia now. Like, because these guys got to compete year round to rack up points. They're not giving their bodies a break, and a lot of these guys don't understand the importance of getting blood work done. They really don't. They just do what somebody is telling them to do.
Right.
And they aren't doing their own homework and really understanding what can happen to their bodies. And you know, like I said, some of these guys go years without getting any blood work done. They go years of taking something without coming off of it, and
you're right.
You know, it's stupid. And I've seen it a lot more and more. But I see a lot of younger guys messing with like peptides and stuff they can get from online, and there's no research behind this stuff. And I see a lot of people taking shortcuts, and I think that's also why you see like these young guys coming in like 21, 22 years old now that are looking just like you look like you're 35.
Yeah, they're.
So. You know, it's just the sport's changed. I think education is going to be huge for a lot of these guys, and I just hope it doesn't take somebody getting hurt or somebody sick or dying before somebody, you know, speaks up on it.
Well, it used to like almost literally be for nothing, and now there's like stuff on the line. You know, like you could potentially get big and massive. You know, somebody could come into, you know, men's physique and just be the biggest guy in like men's physique, and I'm sure there's probably people that you can think of off the top of your head, and they can just get a lot of followers, and they can have financial gain, monetary gain from that. So, you know, years ago you didn't have that attraction, you didn't have that platform to be able to be seen on, and so now maybe it's even more dangerous than ever, because if you just get big and jacked, maybe you can have a huge following without even being a good competitor.
Oh no, well, that's most people with big followings now aren't even competitors.
Right.
You know, you think about it. You go to the expos, it's not the athletes. I mean, you have a few of the guys that still do really well, have taken advantage of social media, but it's these young guys that are good behind a camera and a laptop that know how to do their stuff that are doing really well. That's why I tell a lot of my young athletes that want me to coach them. I want to be a pro. Well, what are you doing in the meantime to make money? How are you gonna pay for your shows?
Right.
You know, when you turn pro, how are you gonna make money? You're like, well, what do you mean? You know, making it costs money to become pro. You gotta pay for your pro card.
Right.
You know, sponsors aren't just come knocking on your door when you turn pro. It doesn't happen that way. So.
You mentioned working on some new stuff this year and trying to improve yourself from like a mental perspective, and you also mentioned to me making some mistakes. So if you don't mind, if you would comment on that, like what are some things that you're gonna try to work on or work towards coming up in 2020?
Man, there's a lot of change. I mean, I feel that this time around, you know, I competed in Olympia 6 different times, and I'm fortunate enough to win 4 of them. You know, and I was young. I was 22 when I turned pro. I think I did my first Olympia at 22 years old. And there's just a lot of things that I did wrong, and the way I was brought up through the industry. Just trying to grow up and figure out my way, you know, and getting thrown in the mix of some of the legends of the sport right off the bat. I was just kind of like this young kid just trying to fit in, and I didn't always say the right things, and you know, I might have a sense of entitlement. I think that was a lot that came with insecurity of not really knowing where I fell into place at the time, and there were a lot of people the wrong way, and I said a lot of the wrong things. Walked around like a hard ass a lot of times, had a chip on my shoulder. Mm-hmm. That just came up from my upbringing, where I came from, and the stupid people we used to hang out with growing up as kids. And you know, taking a step back this past year and having a lot of the bullshit that happened to me, you know, damn near losing everything over just stuff that could have been avoided or prevented. You get a lot of time to reflect on, think about things, and you know, I was planning on retiring, and unfortunately a lot of stuff happened that are making me have to come back to the stage. And I want to come back to the stage, but is it under the circumstances I necessarily wanted? No, but it's also a chance for me to do things the right way this time around and polish one of the things that I know I did wrong in the past. So when I do come up to these situations that I know I'm going to approach leading up into Olympia, I'm going to be able to handle them a lot better, and I'm going to be able to leave people walking away from their interaction with me with a much different interpretation of how they had it before.
Right.
So that's my ultimate goal. You know, I want to be part of the sport. I feel I've made a big mark on the industry already, and I want to be able to, you know, be a part of it and be welcome to be a part of it in the years to come. I don't want to be that guy that, you know, you know, oh, he was the 4-time champ that, well, they don't even want him in the industry anymore. I don't want to be that guy. Right. You know, and there are guys like that, and, you know, I don't want to be known as one of those guys. You know, I've worked too hard. I have too many fans that love me for what I've done. And it's not necessarily the fans, it's like, you know, it's just the people within that I gotta, you know, we gotta fix the relationships that, you know, I might have been responsible for not have done the right thing in the past. And it comes with age, you know. I feel that I hate blaming me being young, but at the same time I don't really have any other excuse but that. You know, I feel I've grown up a lot in the last few years. It's primarily in the last 8 months, just based off the corner I was put into. And you know, I fortunately was able to have a lot of growth from that, and able to, you know, sit back and peel things back and understand situations, and not just from other people's perspective, not just from my perspective, from other people's perspective too. Be able to take a step back and look at how maybe I would have came off to them, or how they might have seen something. And that's something I didn't really do in the past before, was like take a step back and look at it from somebody from the outside. And that's big. It's really important. Being just a person in life, you know, you got to be able to, you know, feel for others and have compassion and understand. And that's how relations are generated. That's how you get people to like you, is by being compassionate and understanding, being somebody you want to be around.
You take ownership of it and try to take the responsibility.
And I didn't take responsibility for a lot of things in the past, and I feel that's what created a lot of, you know, resentment for a lot of people and myself too. You know, not taking ownership of the things that, you know, deep down I knew or was my problem.
You mentioning maybe you know, having an issue with one of your mentors and stuff, like like I said, you can't really get some of those things back. But how do you maybe earn some of that respect back? Do you think, in your eyes?
You know, I don't know, man. It sucks because, you know, I mean, we don't gotta. It's Hani. Everybody knows it's Hani.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's really unfortunate. I love the man to death. I mean, he was like a second dad to me, a big brother. He loved me. You know, he was there for me in ways that even, you know,
he probably
my parents,
still does.
I know he does. You know, and the fact of the matter is, I was, you know, I messed up. I let somebody come between us, and I got ahead of myself. You know, Hani had a lot to do with a lot of things in my life. and he got me out of a lot of situations that, you know, that could have really ruined me. And I didn't listen to him when it was really important. I let somebody else influence me, and I got ahead of where we were at. And
It's hard when
I let my head get a little too big for the situation, and he was right. He was right. The whole situation happened the way it did, just like it unfolded. And after we stopped talking, everything that he told me was going to happen happened. Honey's always right. He told me about the bench press when I tore my pec literally the night before. He goes, don't do the bench press, dude. You're going to tear your pec off. I'm like, oh, it's fine. Snap.
He called me like an emergency story. You know, he was like, don't be like Jeremy. He tore his pec. He's like, you're getting lean, you're getting dry. He's like, stop bench pressing.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I got you.
I love Honey, man. I hope one day he'll be able to forgive me. You know, but
yeah.
I've reached out to him, apologized to him, and it's just, I think in time, you know. I haven't even seen him face to face. So, if he sees this, I love you, dude.
I appreciate you sharing that with us. That's not easy stuff to do. So thank you so much. And thanks for the workout. That was a sick back workout. Now we need to eat some protein and just let these lats grow. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you all later. Had a great training session today with Jeremy Buendia. We also did a podcast. Had a great time. Learned a lot of good stuff. We trained some back. He really blew me out. Blew me up. Blew me out. Can I get a hey now? Blew up my back. You know, gave me some good ideas on my own training that I'm excited to start to implement and utilize. Nothing too crazy, just squeezing the muscles and pausing and, you know, using some various bodybuilding techniques, all of which, you know, are things you guys have seen and heard of before. Drop sets, forced reps, all this kind of stuff. But awesome to have him in the gym, and great to have him on my podcast today as well. He shared a lot of great information with us, shared a lot of things that have happened over the last several years in terms of his Olympia reign and in terms of his controversy that has been surrounding him. Self-admittedly, you know, a lot of it was just due to his own immaturity and improper ways of handling certain situations. So got to hand it to the guy for the fact that he's trying to rectify those situations by taking ownership of the fact that, you know, he is the one directly causing some of these things. And anyway, I thought that was cool. But also, you know, he's a 4-time men's physique Mr. Olympia competitor as well. Just, you know, wealth of knowledge when it comes to training, nutrition, that kind of stuff. I'm on my way home from that right now, and I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat with Jeremy tonight at a place called Ella, which is amazing, but it is 3:30, and I really haven't eaten anything all day. I had a post-workout double scooper of Slingshot protein, and then earlier today I had 2 scoops of Keto Pro mixed with some coffee and some heavy cream and a little bit of milk, and that was pretty good. That was really, really super duper good, actually. But I haven't eaten anything yet today, so I'm gonna get some real food when I get home here. Maybe cook up a chunk of a burger, and then I know I got some of that Piedmontese steak thawed out, and I'll be eating some of that. So, as I'm waiting for the grill to heat up over there, this is what I'm gonna be cooking up right here, not the mac and cheese. This is from Piedmontese. If you want to use my code, it's Mark Bell. You can use it at checkout, get 25% off. Look at how lean this is, though. And it's super tender. 4 grams of fat, 25 grams of protein. So in the whole thing, we got 100 grams of protein. And what? Like, whatever 4 times 4 is, 16 grams of fat and 100 grams of protein in this thing. That's pretty amazing. I got a burger here from yesterday, and I got some of these beef tips that I cooked up. So, eating while I'm waiting for the stove to heat up. On top of that, I'm eating before I go out to eat. I'm going to eat at a restaurant in Sacramento called Ella. That's at 6, and it's 3:30ish now. I'm trying to get my swole on. Didn't eat much today, so I'm trying to make up for some lost times right now. So, As I'm waiting for the grill to heat up over there, this is what I'm gonna be cooking up right here, not the mac and cheese. This is from Piedmontese. If you want to use my code, it's Mark Bell. You can use it at checkout, get 25% off. Look at how lean this is though. And it's super tender, 4 grams of fat, 25 grams of protein. So in the whole thing, we got 100 grams of protein. And what? Like, whatever 4 times 4 is, 16 grams of fat and 100 grams of protein in this thing. That's pretty amazing. I got a burger here from yesterday, and I got some of these beef tips that I cooked up. So, eating while I'm waiting for the stove to heat up. On top of that, I'm eating before I go out to eat. I'm going to eat at a restaurant in Sacramento called Ella. That's at 6, and it's 3:30ish now. I'm trying to get my swole on. Didn't eat much today, so I'm trying to make up for some lost times right now. How about some vitamin A and some vitamin D here from some raw, grass-fed goat cheese, right? You know, people that are into promoting us eating vegetables, they always talk about all the vitamins and minerals that vegetables have, and maybe that fruit have, you know, but they leave out the fact that a lot of these things have a great amount of nutrients in them as well. And even something like this has a lot of nutrients in it as well. That's my burger from last night that I'm reheating. I threw some grease on top of it. That's a bacon grease, has a bacon grease hat. But man, this has a lot of calcium, a lot of nutrients in it that your body needs. And, you know, I'm not going to say negative things about vegetables. I think that vegetables can have a place in your diet. They don't currently have a place in my diet, but I'll bring it back in eventually because I like them as a filler, especially when you start going to a caloric reduction. You start to bring down those fat calories. Well, you need something to replace it with. Just trying to replace it with just protein is tough. But fat from dairy can also I'll make a post about it, but Stan Effering talks about this. The fat in dairy makes it even harder for you to store the fat that's in it as body fat due to how you break down the proteins and the fats. Additionally, some of the tallest, healthiest people in the world eat a lot of dairy, and they have they eat more saturated fat than anybody else in the world. A lot of it's through dairy, and they have the lowest rate of cardiovascular disease. So a lot of great things that cheese can do and dairy can do. Dairy has also been shown to help reduce the absorption of iron when you're having meat. So a cheeseburger could be really good for a guy that's got kind of high iron levels. There's some things I thought you should know. All right. Got ready to eat this burger and cook up the steak.
Wow! Hey, Smelly, how do you cook up that meat?
I heat it up, just like you do. Well, I chopped it up with some scissors, and we just let it go. Pretty simple. This is a bavette. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. Cooking it in some bacon grease, wallowing in some fat. I took some of the bacon grease that gets collected in there and put it on there. I don't care if you think it's gross. I think it's amazing. It's fantabulous. It tastes really, really good. Gonna throw a little salt on this bitch and gonna eat it up. Got some steak. Wifey's trying to give me some cheese. Got a whole date night going. Trying not to be too annoying with my camera, but I just can't help myself. I got 2 things of salmon and I got some steak. And I'm super excited, super pumped about it. And I even got a martini to celebrate day number 50. And a meatball. Really going off the rails. Really letting the hair down, being a wild man. Had an awesome dinner. It was actually kind of hard to pack down all that food after eating quite a bit of protein before I went out to eat. For those of you that are having a hard time, for those of you that struggle with eating too much, you can try something that's called protein leveraging. And when you eat more protein, it makes it more difficult to eat. So, you know, I had some salmon and some steak and I was able to get through that, but it's kind of hard after I ate a burger and steak earlier in the day. So that's something that's helped me. Hopefully it helps some of you. I enjoyed a martini with this lady over here. Hey! She doesn't care too much. There we go. So there's 50 days of carnivore and we got 50 more to go. For those of you that have been in the whole time, for those of you just hopping in, welcome, and let's get going. We got 50 more days to go. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch y'all later.